Welcome to Everything Co-op, bringing you information on how cooperatives can help improve your quality of life. This show is being sponsored by the National Co-op Bank, NCB. The NCB is dedicated to strengthening communities nationwide for the delivery of banking and financial services for the nation's cooperatives, their members, and other socially responsible organizations. For more information on the power of community ownership, visit ncb.coop. That's ncb.coop. Now stay tuned for your host, Vernon Oakes.
Good morning, everybody. This is Vernon Oakes. Welcome to Everything Co-op. You know, this is a great, wonderful Thursday. Sun's up. We're up. God is good. And this morning in studio, we have Miss Jessica Johnson, beautiful young lady whose family's from Sierra Leone. But she lives here and grew up in New York. New York.
Yes.
Okay. And she's the regional director of CPA. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I grew up in Long Island, New York. My parents migrated from Sierra Leone and Liberia in the 70s. Grew up in New York. Spent some time going to school in Accra, West Africa, in Accra, Ghana. And went to school for my undergraduate studies in upstate New York in Elmira. Studied political science and international studies. Originally was going to go into diplomacy, work overseas at an embassy, and just decided that that was not the career path that I wanted to follow. Later, changed my mind and decided to pursue an MSW at the University of Pennsylvania to study social work. And then from that journey, it led me to the wonderful DMV, where I managed and operated a social services program for Prince George's County, Maryland, assisting individuals with securing employment so that they could be self-sufficient, operated that contract, oversaw operations, procurement, different things like that. And then my heart and my journey led me to the Community Purchasing Alliance, where I'm doing what I'm doing today currently.
So what is Community Purchasing Alliance? Community
Purchasing Alliance, also referred to as CPA, is a cooperative. We are a purchasing cooperative. We have 75 member owners. However, we do service over 160 organizations. We work with nonprofits, churches, religious institutions, community organizations, and essentially we assist them with their procurement, oversee their facilities contracts. We work with them to save money on those expenses, to ensure that they are working with vendors that are from the community and provide good services and good contracts. So we do an array of different things, and also we ensure that our net profits do go back and support community organizing, which is the umbrella that we were created under.
Okay, you said a whole lot, so I'm going to break it down a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so CPA is not you're not accountants. CPA.
We are not accountants.
You are a cooperative.
Yes, a purchasing cooperative.
A purchasing cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
And who are your members again?
So our members comprise of nonprofits, so churches, charter schools, religious institutions, churches, temples, and other types of community organizations. Those are our members.
Okay. So what do you purchase for these people?
We have over 11 program offerings, and we're continuing to expand. We started with electricity buying. We have electricity, gas, janitorial services, security, solar, copier program, paving, just various program offerings that a lot of our members benefit from. And so, for example, I'll go into one detail, waste hauling. We learned that there are a few companies in this area that pretty much have a monopoly on the market, and waste hauling companies.
Trash pickup,
essentially.
Okay.
And they tend to overcharge our members. They have these contracts that have these hidden fees and fuel surcharges, late surcharges, contracts that are impossible to get out of. And we found that a lot of them mostly were being overcharged. And so we were able to pretty much put together our purchasing power in order to help them secure better rates, better contracts. On average, they save 35% when they go through the CPA.
Okay. So you got a church, charter school, a nonprofit entity that has a contract to have their trash picked up.
Yep.
So you guys come along and you look at their contract and you say, we can probably beat this. We can get you a great vendor who will do a good job for you at 35% or more savings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do that. That's essentially what we do. We come in, we evaluate your contract, your invoices, and we work with a pool of vendors. One of the vendors we work with is a local vendor. Has been around for a long time.
You can go ahead and say his name. You can say his name.
Oh, okay, sure. One of the companies is Tenleytown Trash, and they hire second chance offenders. Do a lot of hiring from the community. They pay good rates. They have good services. So that's an example of one of the companies that we work with, or the type of vendors that we try to work with. And we usually pretty much gather the quotes. We compare them. We explain to our member whether the different companies they can choose to go with, and we help them transition into a new agreement where they get fixed rates, no surprises, no hidden terms in the contracts, and we explain it to them.
Well, see, as you probably know, I'm in property management. That's what I do, my day job. This is my fun work, this radio program, and talking about co-op, talking co-op. So I know Tenley Trash. There's another company called Braxton Trash, which is minority-owned. Those are the main two that I use. So it was kind of nice when I joined CPA and we did some of this comparative shopping that my clients, my properties, were already getting good pricing. So I would think that most property managers would do the same service that you're doing, and that is shop around, do the contracting, do the contracts, and figure out what's best for our clients. But both of those companies do an excellent job. And there's somebody, and I'm not going to mention their names, who doesn't do just quite as good a job, but they'll charge 35, 50. Sometimes I've seen 100% more.
More, yes.
And then they'll have things in their contract like if you don't give them like a 90-day or 180-day
Between
notice.
180 days and 50 days, if you don't let them know that you're going to terminate your contract,
automatic.
You're locked in for another year.
Or two or three.
Or they'll charge you 3 times the amount of your last invoice. You sign a contract that says you're paying $700 a month. You get an invoice for $1,500 a month. I mean, these are the things that we're seeing. And yes, a lot of property managers and a lot of property management companies do survey the market to really try to get their clients the best pricing.
Yeah.
Where we have an advantage is the power of collective bargaining, the purchasing power that we have because we have so many organizations that we're bringing to the table.
And how many do you have again?
So we have 75 member owners, and a member owner, pretty much what that means is they've paid an investment into the cooperative, and so they get dividends at the end of the year. All of our dividends go back to our members, and then 60% of our net profit goes to the Washington Interfaith Network, WIN, to support community organizing. So that power that we have, that purchasing power, because of all the organizations that we are bringing to the table, is what gives us that competitive edge to negotiate better rates for our members.
Question I normally wait to the end. You've been doing this, 6 months a year? What?
Just about.
6 months? Do you like what you're doing?
Yes, I do.
Why?
I love it. It's interesting because I have a story.
You should see her light up, you wish you could see her light up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, for example, I go into a church in a part of town that may not be doing so well. And it's a church that's struggling, and they really don't have the highest membership. But I'm able to go into that church, and I'm able to go through their service contracts and their utilities and see where we're able to save them some money, help them go solar, help them possibly, get the money so that they can repair their roof. And when you see the impact that you have on that type of institution, it's great. One of our board members worded it so wonderfully and said, we try to make sure that our teachers are spending less than 10% of their time on operations so they can focus more on teaching. But when you have issues with your janitorial companies, they're not taking the trash out, the kids are coming into dirty classrooms and, different things like that, it takes away from the time that they can focus on helping those students. And so that's where we come in to really alleviate the burden and the stress from those operation managers and really help them get that service so that they can focus on what's really important, what really matters.
So in a charter school, your teachers, your administrators are spending time teaching, interacting with the students, and not doing the administrative stuff. That's right. What you all can help them do.
That's what we.
I never even thought about that. I thought about that. It's nice that copier machines, and I bought mine through you guys, and it was a wonderful experience because when I went to the copier guy, he already had a contract that was, well, first he showed me his normal contract. And I went through and said, I don't like this, don't like this. He said, oh, wait a minute. This is not this contract. You're a CPA, so let me give you, they've already worked all of those things out.
Yes.
I said, yeah, no, let's don't even talk about this. So I didn't have to fight him over issues, the kind of things that we were talking about earlier, those things that they put in contracts that hurt the client, hurt me or whoever the member is. And then I got a great price.
Yeah.
So it was neat. I didn't have to spend all of the time arguing and fussing and negotiating back and forth of what we were going to do. You all had already done all of it.
We do all the vetting. We're the ones finding the vendors. We're checking the references. We're doing all the calls and the background checks. We're going through the contracts and reviewing them. We're putting all.
You have lawyers that go through the contract. You have a couple of lawyers that go through the contract.
We do. We have legal consultants that we consult so that they can go through the terms and make sure that they're able to put together the contract that best protects our members.
Thank you. We're going to take our first break already. It's wonderful. We'll be right back. We're talking to Jessica Johnson, a CPA. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks. The program is Everything Cooperative. We have the pleasure of talking about cooperatives and the benefits of cooperatives. And we have Miss Jessica Johnson from CPA, Consumer Purchasing...
Community Purchasing Alliance.
Community Purchasing Alliance. Thank you. This program is brought to you by the National Cooperative Bank, who's just been a great partner. NCB's mission is to support and be an advocate for America's cooperatives and their members, especially in low-income communities. And Jessica already talked about churches in low-income communities. She didn't call it that. She is communities not doing so well. A lot of times that has to be financially. But National Co-op Bank, it works in those communities. But they do it by providing innovative financial and related services. They do a great job of it because most banks, Jessica, as I learned in my MBA program, they're only concerned about three things. They're concerned about getting their money back, number one. Number two is getting their money back. And number three is getting their money back. And so they only sort of lend to people that already have assets. So that if what they're loaning doesn't happen, they call it collateral, then they can go take that collateral and get their money back. So NCB goes in and works with people in low-income communities and through forming co-ops and so forth so that people can get financial wealth, social wealth, political wealth. Now, before we took break, that's what you were talking about, going into churches or schools and help them to save money. What are the other benefits? What do you all do that helps your members?
I'm glad you asked that because it's not just about saving money. Sometimes it's just the school, the organization wants to work with a minority-owned business. Sometimes they want to work with a business that has a union in place. Sometimes they want to work with, so it's not just about saving money. Sometimes it's about just doing their part of giving back to the community or helping to uplift certain businesses. Another thing that we do is we save time. Because of the relationships that we have and that we've built and the partnerships and the vendors that we've vetted, We save you the time of having to go out and start from square one and do it all by yourself. When you're busy running, one of the top charter schools in DC, when you're part of that operations team, you have so many things that you already have to focus on a day-to-day basis to make sure that that school is running so that those kids are getting the best that they can. And so when we come in, we're able to really support you and really help you save that time from running after the different vendors or reviewing all the different contracts and putting them together and so on and so forth. So we save you that time.
All right. So if somebody's interested in nonprofit, church, synagogue, mosque, if you are a government entity, a charter school, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Well, very easy. CPA.coop is our website, CPA.coop. Or you can email me directly, Jessica@CPA.coop. My job as the regional director is to manage our new business development in the area, manage our current relationships and partnerships with our members and our vendors. And so if you want to speak with us, if you are a vendor, if you are a company and you want to be involved, that is how you can reach us.
So if you go online, and I just did, it says request a call in the right-hand corner. So if they request a call, they can't get you?
If they request a call, they may get me or a member of my team.
Okay. So I don't know about most of you out there, but if you're interested in saving money and time, so you have more time to do what your mission is, if that's teaching, if that's pastoring, then you can save money. One of the things I liked when I first heard about you guys, if you're a church and you're spending 35, 50, 100% more on your trash, that means that you have 35% or 50% or 100%. If go to CPA, you can save that money to put into your programs, to put it into your ministries.
Yes.
Okay. So you will have more money to do what it is that you're wanting to do. So you have more money to do what you want to do, and you have more time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think about, the last organization that I worked with, just in any general setting when you're working in the public sector, there's always never enough money. There's always never enough money to do anything. We need this. We don't have enough money. We need this. The budget doesn't, support this. So, if we're able to help you generate some savings so that you can actually have the money to do some of the things that you've been longing to do, whether that's hire someone or pay for a program or subsidize something, that's what we want to do, and that's what we're here to do. And so I think that is something that definitely resonates with a lot of organizations. The work that we do is very purposeful.
Jessica, this is the reason I like co-ops. People come together, pool their resources, whether that's money or time or knowledge, and then do good. So you're doing good to help those entities do good, churches, schools. So I really want to talk about now the values and principles of co-ops. So let me talk about that, because you mentioned what made me go here is you said that you all give back 60% of your money that you make, your profits, to WIN, and that's Washington.
Net profits.
Washington Interfaith
Network.
Okay. So you give back 60% of your profits, but there's a fee that you have to pay to come into it to be a member. And what's that fee based on?
Well, so you don't have to be a member to participate with us or to start saving money.
Wait. You don't have to be a member?
You don't have to be a member to participate with us and start saving money. We ask that after...
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. So if I've got a charter school or I've got a mosque and I want to save money, then all I have to do is call you all and you all help me without me putting no money down, no money to it.
You don't have to put any money down. We'll start working with you. We want you to see the benefit in working with us and to start to save that money. And then we ask you to make an investment into the co-op. And that is how we operate. Because
that's so anti-capitalism. I don't know.
Because we're not a capitalist organization. We're a social justice co-op.
Social justice. So you're telling me that you can get the benefits of the organization, put no money down, and then you start saving money. And after you save money, if you choose to, you can join.
Yes. If you choose to, you can join. Like I said before, we have 75 member owners. We work with over 160 organizations. Everyone's not a member. We would love for you to be a member because then you would pay an investment into the co-op and you would have access to receiving dividends. I mean, you procure through us. You get better services, better contracts, and at the end of the year, you get a dividend check. That's amazing, but you can only do that if you're a member. But no, it's not a requirement.
In this program, we've been now 4 years, Jessica. We were only going to do it 1 month. The co-op month is October and it's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So next month we'll celebrate. Next week we'll celebrate 4 years of being on air.
Congratulations.
Okay. And the way you just described it is what I've been trying to describe all of these 4 years. Just the benefits of co-ops. Mm-hmm. 75 people. How many started? Do you know how many people started this co-op?
How many started? In the beginning, I want to say we had the first purchasing was about 10 or 12 churches.
Okay, so you start off with, let's say, 11 churches. Mm-hmm. And they pool and figure out what they want to do, and then they form this co-op.
It was for electricity.
Electricity.
We saved them initially $100,000 in electricity savings.
A year?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So if it were 10, that's $10,000 a year per church on average.
Yeah.
On average.
Yeah. We've saved to date our members just about $3 million. On average, we have about $10 million in annual service contracts, and we've saved $3 million.
How long have you been in business? When did you start?
About, I would say, officially, 3 years.
Wait a minute. How many? It's $1 million a year you save your members.
Mm-hmm. To date.
75 members. 160 people you work with. 160
it's the organizations.
Mm-hmm. So your members are businesses, nonprofit businesses.
They're charter schools, they're churches, they're retirement communities. Mm-hmm.
So cooperative values are self-help, and these 11 or so churches, 10 or 12 of them, got together to help themselves.
Yeah, they were. They were led by Martin Tribble, who's the lead organizer at WIN.
Okay. WIN is the Washington
Interfaith Network.
Mm-hmm. Self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity values, and the values of the tradition of the founders of cooperatives. Cooperative members believe in the ethical values of honesty, openness, social responsibility, and caring for one another. Mm-hmm. That sounds very religious, spiritual.
It does.
Caring for one another, telling the truth, honesty, having transparency, openness. Mm-hmm. Wow. What if we could get our politicians to be cooperators? Okay. Another story for another time. Mm-hmm. So the values, the principles, there's 7 principles: volunteer and open membership. So if you are an institution, a nonprofit, just come on. It doesn't make any difference what religion you are, what gender, what your political views are, your racial makeup, societal makeup. It just doesn't make any difference. From a poor community, wealthy community, it makes no difference. Open membership, that's what you all do, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The second principle is democratic member control. Normally that's 1 member, 1 vote. So if you have 75 members, each one of those has 1 vote.
Has a vote. Mm-hmm.
So it's not based on how much money you have, which is a capitalistic model. The more money you have, the more stock you can buy in a company. The more stock you have, the more votes you have.
Right.
So in this case, 1 member. Poor church with 100 members or a large church with 10,000 members, it makes no difference. And then it's the member economic participation. It's the third one, and we'll talk about this one quickly, and then we'll take our second break. Normally there's some money you have to put in, but in CPA's case, you can start getting the benefits without putting up any money. And then if there's a profit or surplus, then you can get some money back out. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we come off of our second break. And that's the third principle, member economic participation. We'll be right back. Please don't touch that dial. Welcome back, everybody. Everything Cooperative. My name is Vernon Oakes, and we have Miss Jessica Johnson in the studio with us today, talking about Community Purchasing Alliance, CPA, Social Purpose Cooperative. Okay, so we were talking about member economic participation. So you have to have something to pay in. So if somebody comes and starts working with you, they get savings on their trash pickup. They get money, income off the solar panels. They buy a copier machine and they save money on that, and they save money on their energy, or they get all the savings. They decide they want to join. Mm-hmm. How do you all charge them, or what's their fee to come in?
Well, there isn't a flat fee. It's contingent upon your operating budget. So based off of whatever your annual operating budget is, we have a scale for that. And then that's what we'd ask for you to invest into the co-op.
Okay.
It's a one-time investment.
Not a yearly?
We have annual dues that are obviously significantly lower, but it's a one-time investment.
Okay. Do you remember any of them? What if you have a budget of $100,000?
If you have a budget of $100,000, it's probably $500.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So, so if you have a budget of $10 million, and it might be, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that. But then we wouldn't expect to only save you $2,000 and ask you to pay that. We would expect to save you $30,000, $25,000. And then, yeah.
Okay. So if I like your model, because you get to wear the shoes before you buy them.
Right.
You get to drive the car as long as you want to before you buy it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any time you say to somebody, hey, we've already saved you $50,000, you got to join or buy? Do you ever tell people that?
I mean, we talk about membership up front so that people understand what membership entails. Mm-hmm. And then, so it's not a surprise, when we ask you, hey, are you ready to join and become a member? Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll ask you, but there's no, you have to become a member in order to, some people realize, you know what, it's just not, we just don't want to be a member at this time,
Okay. So there is some fee to join in, and that's, most co-ops are that. In the housing co-ops, there's a membership fee. Mm-hmm. And it could be a lot of money or a little money. It depends on if it's affordable housing co-op or market rate co-op. There's some membership fee. But then on the back end, you talked about dividends. Mm-hmm. So if CPA makes a surplus or a profit, mm-hmm. 60% of it, somebody decide goes to win. Who decided that?
It was decided in the very beginning, because in the beginning when CPA was founded, we received an investment from NCB, and we received
hold on. National Co-op Bank gave you,
mm-hmm.
loaned you money or loaned you money?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then we also received some an investment from Washington Interfaith Network as well. And so this was, part of the money that was able to give us the funds to do a feasibility study in order to determine whether or not this is the model that could work. And so out of that, our executive director, Felipe Witchker, he's one of the co-founders, and so is Martin Trimble, who's with Washington Interfaith Network.
What about Paul Hazen?
He's the chair of our board.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the chair of our board. And, this came out of a love of community organizing and wanting to give back. And so that was one of the things that was agreed upon, that we, because of what our bigger goal is, that we would give money back to win, essentially, every year, to continue to support those efforts, because we see the value in community organizing.
Well, see, I've had some food co-ops that have been on, and they say, first off, the members decide what happens to the money. Mm-hmm. Okay, the members, and this is one of the reasons I like co-ops, is that you don't have the shareholders telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. Well, they really are shareholders in that they're members, but it's not the money, the folks that have the money shareholders in a capitalistic model. They may be living in China producing policies for the business. Mm-hmm. In this case, it is the members, those 175 members are making up the rules. And some co-ops have told me, food co-ops, 1/3 of it stays in the business of the profit so that they can fund growth. 1/3 of it goes to community philanthropy, giving back to the community. And 1/3 of it goes to dividends to the members. And in their case, it's based on how much business they bought, how much they used the co-op. And that's how they decide what percentage of that profit you get back. Okay, so you all make some money, and how do you all decide how much those 75 members get back?
So it's similar to what you just mentioned. So if you're a retirement community and your purchasing contributed to 3% of our profits, then you would get 3% of the net profits.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your purchasing brought in, $100,000 of revenue, I'm just putting out general numbers, then whatever the net profit is, then you would get 3% of that.
Okay.
So after operating costs are taken out, 60% goes to Win. Whatever's left, then you would get a percentage of that.
Okay.
Relative to, yeah.
So CPA, Community Purchasing Allowance, you all are not trying to make profit to pay a shareholder money, a stockholder, somebody to put some money in. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to pay NCB or Win back.
Well, I mean, you had to, pay back loans and stuff for sure, but but not in here to get rich.
Okay. So you already said you really like what you're doing. So that was the third, member economic participation. The fourth principle is autonomy and independence. And that's basically who has control of the business. And your members have control?
They have the control. I mean, they can choose whether or not they want to pursue, which vendor they want to select, whether or not this is a contract they want to sign up for. We also provide a level of expertise and understanding of these various programs and service agreements that we're able to share with them so that they can be informed and empowered and making better decisions for their organization. So they have that autonomy and that independence.
Okay. So what normally makes it the difference of what type of co-op it is who owns and who controls the business. So number 4 gets to be extremely important. You don't want a government telling you what to do. You don't want the people that gave you money or loaned you money telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. So the members have to have that control in order for the cooperative to work under the principles of cooperation. And the 5th one was my favorite principle, and that's what's the first reason I like co-ops, and that is education, training, and information. That a part of the core, and Dr. Jessica Gordon-Nimhart, who's been on the show a couple times, wrote a book called Collective Courage, looking at African-American sort of history and comparing that to cooperative history and finding out there was a little one-to-one correlation. There was a lot of co-ops in history that African-Americans were involved in, but who knew? I didn't find about co-ops until 23 years ago of my 70 years on this earth. I just found out about co-ops. So it's always interesting why that history didn't come up. But that's the whole nother story about why Black or African-American history doesn't show up, particularly why co-op history doesn't show up. Education, is what she said, has been the core reason for the success of cooperatives. Mm-hmm. Educating the members. Okay, so that they understand the financial statement, that they understand how to make decisions, they understand when there are conflict, how to resolve conflict, okay, without having to go to the OK corral, okay, to resolve it. So that's why I like co-ops is its education, and what she said, Jessica Gordon-Nimhart said, that whenever the co-ops began to have problems, they would go back to their study bees. They had study camps and so forth, so that if they started having trouble, that's what they would go back to. Mm-hmm. The 6th principle is cooperation among co-ops. Mm-hmm. And that is just trying to get the credit unions to work with housing co-ops and housing co-ops to work with food co-ops, and trying to get co-ops also to work with Community Purchasing Alliance. The 7th one is concern for community, and that's what's in the DNA of co-ops. Mm-hmm. And you already have it that 60% of your profit goes back to the community to Win, and so Win, the Washington Interfaith Network, can do what they do. They have money to do what they need to do. So those are the 7 principles of co-ops. So now I want to change it a little bit to talk about what you do. What is your job, Beth? What do you do?
Well,
regional director.
Regional director. A lot of my job is to really manage the relationships that we have and to grow our cooperative in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. So I'm managing the relationships that we have with current members and organizations that we're participating with. I'm recruiting new members, managing our vendors, building relationships with new vendors, building new programs, overseeing procurement, and saving our organization, saving our members money. That's essentially what I'm doing. So a lot of everything, but my primary goal is to help grow our cooperative and to make sure that we expand and that we're able to service as many organizations as we can in this region.
So I get on your goals is you want to grow to 250. So
250 members.
Yes, 75 members. You want to go to 250. If my math is right, that's 175 more members.
Yeah, in the next several years, next 5 years.
In 5 years.
4 years, I should say now.
4 years. And you want to have 15 service areas. How many you have now?
We have 11, and we're currently building out some new ones. One is paving, one is HVAC and maintenance, which is going to be a fun program that we're going to build out.
Okay.
But yeah, we have 11 program offerings right now. We're expanding. And a lot of that is the feedback that we get from our members, the needs that they have. Every month we have an operations meeting and finance directors meeting. We bring that community together. We do lots of peer learning and sharing of best practices. And we also do a lot of pooling and try to figure out, what are some of your biggest headaches and service contract issues that you're having. And we use that to inform what needs to be our next program area, what needs to be our next focus. People come to us like one-stop shops. CPA, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? Like, do you guys do this? Do you do that? And so that's essentially how we approach things.
Okay. You just said something that caused me to get very curious. You have monthly meetings where you have peer learning and best practices. So you have 30 churches in the room?
For example, we can have 10 to 15 operations managers and finance directors from various charter schools, and we'll bring them together, and we'll have an agenda, and we'll talk about different issues. So last month, we talked about PCSB compliance, which is the compliance that they have to go through. We talked about school buses and transportation. We talked about, at one meeting, we talked about school lunch programs. So just different things. Different directors will talk about things that they do at their school that may be of benefit to someone else in another school, because they don't really have an opportunity to always get together because they're in their schools. They're running operations. And so we bring them together. We've created that community so that they can share information and also inform us on what we need to be focusing on.
So this really is number 5, this education, training, and information.
It is.
Really helping them to understand best practices for running a school or best practices for running a church. And right now we're going to get to weather, the news, and traffic, and we'll be right back to talk to you about some other best practices.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks. Everything Cooperative is the program, and Miss Jessica Johnson is our guest today in studio. And Jessica, before we took break, you were telling us there's 75 members right now. You're going to your goal in the next 4 years to get it up to 250.
Right.
It's almost 3-4 times what you got now in the Washington, D.C. area. Okay. Can you talk about what you're doing to increase that, besides being on this show, which is going to try to drive you in more business?
So besides being on the show and using various media outlets to get our name across, we really do rely on our members to also, do those introductions and connect us with other organizations that are similar that we're not working with. We have a really great board filled with many different individuals with different backgrounds and different networks that they're affiliated with that are helping us to expand our membership, business development, outreach. Those are just a lot of the different things that we're doing. Felipe, our executive director, is working on, he has put together a toolkit that he's put out there so that people in other cities can pretty much learn how to start up something similar to CPA.
Wait. Hold on. You're going to other cities?
We want there to be a CPA in every city in America.
Oh, great.
Or every state. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we're expansion is a part of our 5-year plan. Is expanding. That's one of the main reasons why I was brought on board in this area, so that we could take it to the next level somewhere else.
So you're here to take care of this area.
To take care of D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
And to raise that to 250. Mm-hmm. And then Felipe is going to take it national?
Take it national.
Okay. Have you decided which city to go to next?
Right now he's in Durham, and he's looking at seeing what can be done in Durham. But there are also other cities that have people there that have already expressed interest in wanting to start their own, version of CPA, and that's part of why Felipe put together this toolkit where he shared pretty much, information on, what are the steps that need to be taken in order to really launch a successful CPA.
So is this going to be a CPA Durham or just a whole totally different?
Ideally,
entity?
it would be a CPA Durham. It would be a CPA North Carolina.
Okay. You got a CPA New York, a CPA.
Eventually.
CPA California. I'm just thinking of all the housing co-ops in New York.
Yeah, or Detroit or New Orleans, where we have big charter school networks. And, the possibility is there. So many different places we can venture into. And that's what we're in the beginning stages of doing, of putting together the resources to do these feasibility studies to see where we should focus our attention next.
Well, you got in some communities churches on every corner, so that would be cool too. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's exciting. That's exciting. That's exciting. There are so many different places to take off. I would like to see that toolkit that Felipe is doing to see what we can do. Are you working with the National NCBA, National Cooperative Business Alliance, to get your word out?
Well, I'm actually not sure if we are. I would think that we are, but I'm not really sure the depth of that partnership or relationship.
Okay. So NCBA is the National Cooperative Business Alliance, and most of America's cooperatives, or majority of them, belong to this entity. Mm-hmm. So what I was thinking about in asking that question is, when we start talking about the 6th principle, cooperation among cooperatives, this seemed like it would be a great place to be. Mm-hmm. Now, Jessica came to one of the properties I managed. Yes. And we were looking at solar panels. Mm-hmm. The co-op on East Capitol and Benny Road, a 57-unit co-op. Something happened that we didn't follow through, or what do we need to do to make that decision and get that in front of the board? Mm-hmm. So what's the steps in going through that process?
Well, pretty much. We have a colleague on board, Joe Naroditsky. He's our solar associate, and he's been spearheading our solar projects. Okay. And so I can definitely circle back with him and see where we are with that. I think when I did come out to visit you, literally it was like week 1 of me on the job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was literally it was week 1 for sure. And so Joe's been kind of overseeing that. But I would like to see why we haven't gone through and why we haven't
It could be something
that.
on our side that it's falling apart, that we didn't do something. But I would like to, because I'm so excited about the solar panel in that we can put the solar panels on the roof, save electricity.
Save some money.
Maybe even make some money on a deal.
Maybe.
If we can give money back, electricity back to Pepco. But the first time we looked at it, the board was concerned about messing it. We just put a new roof on it. And so they were concerned about messing up the roof.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the solar companies. They will come out with their experts and do the assessments to ensure that your roof is, in the best condition to house these panels. But right now, the market is great. The laws in D.C. are so great for solar right now. People these organizations are able to go solar, pretty good cost, essentially, I should say, or in some cases, maybe very little upfront. And they're able to generate so many savings from being able to go solar. And so, if you are, a nonprofit, an organization, and you're interested in going solar, reach out and talk to us, because the market is ripe for it right now.
And a lot of housing co-ops are nonprofit. Most are nonprofit entities. Mm-hmm. And that seems like that's a perfect example of how we could work cooperation among co-ops.
Yes.
That you all could help co-ops save money and do good for the environment.
It is.
Reduce the carbon emission.
Yes. You definitely want to think about sustainability and reducing your carbon footprint.
I don't want to go into politics, but I believe in science. I believe in climate change. Well, look, we could go down the road of all of
the different things,
all these tornadoes and stuff that we're getting. But on this solar, I thought there was no money down for the properties, and you also had in your program, I'm trying to remember and get this right, where somebody could even redo their roof right now, and if they had to redo the roof, they get enough upfront money to go in and redo your roof, then put the solar panels on, and not have to have money coming out of the pocket.
Yeah, so there have been different deals available through various companies that can really reduce or minimize the cost of going solar. But I can't go into too much detail about that, but I can say that, now is really, really a good time to consider maybe going solar because, you could not have to really come out of pocket significantly in order to do so.
CPA.coop. If you would like to get information about this, go on their webpage, cpa.coop, or you can email Jessica at cpa.coop.
Yes.
Got that? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We only have a couple more minutes, so what do you want to tell people? What do you want to leave people with?
Well, again, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. And I just want to tell people, what we're about, what we're trying to do. We want to ensure that we're delivering a significant amount of savings to our members and our organizations. We want to continue to share our net proceeds to support community organizing. We want to be able to be self-sustaining financially, keep our operating costs so that we can continue to support community organizing. And we want to continue to leverage the millions in group purchasing power in order to have serious investments in sustainability, just wages and labor practices for workers, and local community wealth building.
So you look for vendors that will treat their employees correctly. Right?
Have good hiring practices, pay fair wages, offer benefits and things like that. That is all a part of the Community Purchasing Alliance, is just to ensure that we're also giving back in that way by supporting local businesses.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. What else do we need?
Well, give us a call. That's what you need. You need to give us a call or shoot me an email so we can talk about your organizational needs and how we can support you.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the different kinds of you said you have 11 different program offerings, and you're going to raise it up to 4 more. Oh, HVAC, that's what I wanted to get back to.
Yes.
Because we are always needing somebody to work on HVAC systems.
Yes. It is something, it's a headache that keeps a lot of our members up at night dealing with HVAC issues. And so what we're trying to do is we want to build a pool of preferred vendors, have set pricing for different services. And so right now we're just collecting lots of information from a lot of our members so that we can really put together a really good HVAC program. So we're in the process of really building out an extensive HVAC program. So
with this hot, humid weather in D.C. In the summers, we got to have it. Particularly in D.C., there's a lot of sinuses and allergies. Because D.C. was built on a swamp, and so you have a lot of allergies here. And so when the HVAC goes out, it gets to be a major liability for me as a property manager and for whomever else. I imagine for churches, synagogues, mosques, and charter schools, it's a major issue. Imagine a church that has service on Sundays, and then that's when the AC goes out on Sunday, and they're probably going to charge an even higher rate for that person to come out to service it. And so with that set pricing, instead of you paying $200 an hour, maybe you can pay $130 an hour. And so those are some of the things that we're trying to do. Jessica, thank you for coming in. It's been a great conversation. I really appreciate you and what you do. And everybody out there, we ask you to have a cooperative week. And we look forward to talking to you next Thursday.